Aston Martin faces a challenging season, slipping down the grid and struggling to keep up with their fierce rivals. Fernando Alonso speaks out about the team's development struggles, while his teammate Lance Stroll aims to prove his worth amidst speculations. But that's not all. McLaren, the dark horse of the season, rises to challenge the top contenders Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari. Can they maintain their momentum and emerge as the new powerhouse in Formula One? Let's find out. Now, to gain a better understanding, we must examine Aston Martin's recent performance. At the Hungaroring circuit, the Silverstone-based squad, Aston Martin, faced challenges in terms of speed, with Fernando Alonso having a solitary race and finishing in 9th place, while his teammate Lance Stroll came home in 10th. This performance continues Aston Martin's recent trend of slipping down the grid and losing ground to Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship battle for 2nd place. When questioned about their result in Budapest, Alonso acknowledged that rounding out the points positions was likely the best outcome they could have achieved. He said, "Yeah, we were not quick enough to challenge anyone in front, and we did not have anyone behind. 3 points, 9 and 10th, maximum today. So let's see next week." While Fernando Alonso acknowledges that the closely packed grid can lead to unexpected outcomes in qualifying, he believes that the true competitive order becomes evident during the race. Despite this, he challenges Aston Martin to make strides and reclaim a leading position among the top teams pursuing Red Bull as they have slipped to the rear of that group. Alonso emphasizes the importance of understanding the reasons behind their development struggles as they continue to be outpaced. Before the Hungarian Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso's performance at Silverstone resulted in a 7th place finish. However, in the subsequent races, McLaren, Mercedes, and even Ferrari have solidified their positions above Aston Martin in the competitive hierarchy. As a result, Alonso and his team face a challenge to regain their competitive edge and compete with the leading contenders in Formula One. The pace of Aston Martin has been a topic of discussion, with different viewpoints on the reasons behind their performance. Fernando Alonso believes that the new construction of the tyres used at Silverstone is to blame for their struggles. However, the team itself disagrees, stating that the gap between Aston Martin and Red Bull has remained constant, while other teams have improved to close that gap. Meanwhile, Alonso blaming the new construction tyres on the other hand, Pirelli denies allegations. New tyres not the cause of Aston Martin's decline. Alonso confesses that the Silverstone-based team has fallen behind in car development after its promising start to 2023. He also said, "Since the new tyres came at Silverstone, some teams have struggled more, and some teams are now very happy with their car. Now we are behind not only Red Bull, but Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren." When asked about Alonso's claims, fellow Spaniard Carlos Sainz, who drives for Ferrari, stated that he believes every team faces their own unique challenges and development hurdles throughout the season. "We haven't seen a difference, and we haven't felt a difference," said by Carlos Sainz. Pirelli boss Mario Isola echoed Sainz's sentiment and agreed that each team faces its own development challenges during the season. Mario Isola said, "Nothing has changed. The profile, the rolling radius, the footprint, everything has remained the same." Following the Spanish GP, Fernando Alonso publicly said, "This is the last race without a podium." The Spanish driver has only managed to secure one podium since his statement, and his progress has been slower than anticipated. Additionally, Aston Martin has faced challenges in the constructors' standings, losing ground to Mercedes and facing pressure from Ferrari. The team's performance has not been consistent enough to maintain their position, and they now find themselves in a more competitive battle for points in the championship. Fernando Alonso's significant lead over his teammate, Lance Stroll, has highlighted the potential for Aston Martin to challenge Red Bull if both drivers were equally competitive. However, Stroll rejects any claims that he is responsible for dragging the team down. He pointed out several factors that have affected his performance, including missing pre-season testing due to a broken wrist and experiencing bad luck with various issues in multiple races. Stroll acknowledged that at the moment, Alonso is slightly faster, but he remains determined to improve and become stronger in the second part of the season. He believes that with some adjustments and improvements, he can close the gap to his teammate and contribute more to the team's overall performance. Alonso and the team have been looking ahead to the future, focusing on their plans and preparations for the 2024 season. He recalls an incident in Barcelona where people questioned why he didn't aggressively challenge Lance Stroll during a race, but he emphasises that such concerns didn't bother him, as his focus remains on the bigger picture and the team's long-term goals. As of now, there is no official announcement regarding Fernando Alonso signing a new contract with Aston Martin. Alonso's focus seems to be on the current season and the team's performance, rather than discussing future contract negotiations. Fernando Alonso, the two-time Formula One champion, has revealed his intention to sign only single-year contract extensions after 2024. As one of the oldest active drivers on the grid, the almost 42-year-old racer accepted an offer from Aston Martin to compete in the 2023 and 2024 seasons, with his primary goal being to secure a third championship title. Although he has already considered and discussed the matter with the team, Alonso and Aston Martin have decided to postpone formal discussions about his future until the summer of 2024. This allows both parties to focus on the current season and evaluate the performance and potential achievements before committing to any long-term plans beyond the 2024 season. Are McLaren all of a sudden becoming the new Aston Martin? Indeed, at the beginning of the 2023 season, Aston Martin emerged as a major surprise and garnered considerable attention in the Formula One paddock. The team's remarkable progress was evident as they transformed from a relatively unnoticed seventh-place finisher in the previous year to become the closest competitor to Red Bull, the dominant team on the grid. Aston Martin's significant improvement in performance was indeed seen as a surprising and somewhat embarrassing development for other teams, especially McLaren and Alpine. These two teams had previously suggested that the gap between the top three teams, Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari, and the rest of the grid was nearly insurmountable. McLaren's performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix showcased their car's adaptability and competitiveness in different track conditions. In the Hungarian Grand Prix, with its slower speed corners and hot temperatures, historically posed challenges for the previous McLaren car. Lando Norris had initially downplayed the possibility of a podium finish in Hungary, but as the weekend unfolded, it became evident that McLaren had a strong package. Right from the early stages of the race, the team's pace was impressive, and Norris showcased his skill as a driver, making the most of the car's performance. Oscar Piastri expressed his belief that McLaren can indeed aim for the podium consistently in upcoming races. He highlighted how the team's recent performances at Silverstone and the Hungarian Grand Prix, which featured vastly different circuits and track conditions, demonstrated their competitiveness. According to Piastri, Red Bull was the only team that outperformed McLaren on those occasions. Team boss Andrea Stella expressed his optimism for McLaren's future following their impressive performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix. He stated that the team's result in Hungary has made them more hopeful for the upcoming races compared to their outlook after the Silverstone event. Team CEO Zak Brown has ambitious plans for its use. Brown envisions the wind tunnel as a crucial tool that will propel McLaren to become championship contenders by the year 2025. While this ambition may have seemed overly ambitious at the start of the year, recent developments have shifted the outlook and given a newfound sense of possibility to McLaren's long-term goals. With their recent successes and the competitiveness shown by Lando Norris and the team as a whole, McLaren seems to have gained a renewed sense of confidence and determination. The team appears poised to continue challenging for top positions in Formula One and striving to achieve podium finishes in the upcoming races. So that's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on Aston Martin's recent struggles and the rise of McLaren? Stay tuned with us for the latest news and developments in the world of Formula One. See you in the next video.